On December 20th, Vince McMahon sent a letter to the WWE Board of Directors indicating that he wanted to return as executive chairman of the board. In this letter, he says, quote, Dear Board of Directors, I have always recognized that we have a massive responsibility to the WWE universe. Our fans deserve the best entertainment experience that WWE can offer. And I thank you for your efforts to keep our company focused on that goal through this distinctly challenging year for WWE. Throughout my entire tenure with the company, I have always been committed to doing what I believe to be in the best interest of WWE and our employees, shareholders, fans, and other stakeholders. It also is why I voluntarily retired from the company during the pendency of the special committee investigation and fully cooperated with the committee and its independent counsel's process. My retirement was intended to give the special committee, its independent counsel, and the rest of the board the time and space needed to understand and respond to the allegations. And now that the completion of the special committee investigation has been publicly disclosed, I believe WWE has a unique opportunity during this critical juncture to maximize value for its shareholders and all other stakeholders. Specifically, given the rapidly evolving media landscape in which more and more companies are seeking to own the intellectual property offered on their streaming platforms. I believe, I firmly believe, that the best thing to do for all of the shareholders and other stakeholders is to undertake a comprehensive review of strategic alternatives. I am confident that our other shareholders will support this decision. As you know, the media rights subject to the upcoming negotiations are critical to any strategic alternative consideration, and therefore the two initiatives must occur in parallel fashion. By combining a review strategic alternatives with the media rights negotiations, our company can make better, more well informed, and faster decisions. Moreover, any party that engages in strategic decisions with WWE will want to be sure that I, as controlling shareholder, am aligned with the decision making process. In other words, we must unify the company's decision making regarding these two interconnected initiatives to fully capitalize on this unique opportunity. For these reasons, it is critical for me to rejoin the board of executive chairman to work alongside our management team in leading the exploration of strategic alternatives and media rights negotiations, and it is necessary to fulfill my commitment to doing what is best for WWE. That's a long ass letter. He continues, successfully navigating this process will require close coordination among WWE leadership and the board, as well as clearly defined and well executed strategy to secure the greatest value for WWE stockholders. As WWE founder and largest shareholder, no one has a greater interest in the long term success of WWE or is more aligned with all of WWE shareholders than me. I want to be very clear that I wholeheartedly believe that WWE has an exceptional management team in place. Stephanie, Nick, and Paul, Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Paul Levesque, Stephanie's husband, and the rest of the management team have my full and unconditional support. And as executive chairman, I will support them to facilitate unified, efficient, and effective decision making during the important period in the company's history. An announcement that I'm rejoining the board as executive chairman provides a natural opportunity for WWE to announce an intention to engage in a strategic review process. In light of the timing of the media rights cycle, it is important to finalize my return to WWE as soon as possible. Accordingly, I would request to hear back from you by 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, January 3rd. I intend to keep my letter and any ancillary communications out of the public domain and trust that the board will do the same. While I of course reserve all my rights, my strong preference is to conduct any dialogue regarding this letter privately and collaboratively. I, along with corporate counsel at Kirkland and Ellis LLP, am available to discuss any questions you may have. Thank you for your continued commitment to WWE. I look forward to working together to maximize value for our shareholders, other stakeholders, and the entire WWE universe. Happy holidays, Vince. Um, Too long didn't read. Uh, Vince wants back on the driver's seat because he misses his baby. He misses being on top of the board and overseeing. He was bored at home. He was just like doing nothing. He thought what was going on. He saw that everything was going great on wrestling TV without him. And damn, they're using the word wrestling. Damn, they're doing this. You know what? I'm bored. I want to go back to being the board of directors. They can't because um somebody said that TV rights, TV renewal is coming up pretty soon. So he wants to be on top so he can have say into who gets to hold WWE instead of, he doesn't trust Stephanie, Nick, or Triple H to do it. He'd rather have himself be the main reason to be, okay, you can have it. Like, here, give me the money and you can have it. So, as it's his baby, he wants to see it off, basically. This episode of Under the Apron is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard yet, Anchor by Spotify is the easiest way to make a podcast with all the tools you need, all in one place. Just type in anchor.fm on your browser and start creating that podcast that you've been talking about starting all year long. Take advantage of Anchor's creation tools. You can record, edit, add music, or any type of audio you like right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast on many different listening platforms, such as Spotify, Apple, Google, or even Stitcher, and that's just to name a few. It's everything you need to make a podcast. And want to know what's the best part about it? Absolutely, totally free. Join us and download the Anchor app on your phone or go to anchor.fm on your browser to get started right away. Link will be in the show notes.
You're listening to Mama Murdered a Podcast. I'm your host, AB. Mama Murdered a Podcast is a podcast where me, the mama, will be killing it on the podcast. We'll be taking a deep dive into things that are hard to talk about and even harder to believe that these things actually happen in the world that we live in. This entire podcast will be a trigger warning. I'll be talking about triggering topics while I dive headfirst into a lot of the cases that I'll be covering. New episodes will be released every week on Wednesdays because nobody likes Mondays and because Fridays are for day drinking and barbecues. Some of the case topics will be murder, of course, serial killers, like Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, missing persons cases, like 5-year-old Summer Wells, who vanished from her own yard in broad daylight in the middle of June in Tennessee in 2021. And especially the ones where it kind of seems like they just vanished into thin air, like Brian Schaefer. He walked into a bar, but he never walked out. He's still never been seen again. I'll also be covering cold cases and lesser-known cases. Join me every Wednesday to talk about all things tragic, murder, and things that happen in the downright ugliest sides of society. If you like what you hear and you want to support the podcast, you can rate me on Spotify. You can also leave a review and rating on Apple Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at murdered_mama. All of these things are free and they only take about a second to do, and it really does help grow the podcast. If you have any case suggestions, please send them my way. You can send them to the email address mamamurderedapodcast@gmail.com.
Welcome back, podcast geeks. I'm glad to have you. If you are new here, I am Ernie, and you are listening to another brand spanking new episode where I hide from my real world responsibilities and record this show from under the apron. Relatable, huh? I covered a story about Vince McMahon that was on the Wall Street Journal a few months back, July to be exact. A lot of shit that was going on with him and his secret meetings and using company funds as hush hush money. Uh, so now I think it's time to cover this one as well. I kind of waited for the weekend to be over so I can gather up all the information instead of having to keep updating people with either new information or have a clickbait about absolutely nothing. You know those kind of people, right? Alright, so let's continue. On December 27th, the board of directors responded back with them unanimously voting that Vince should not return to the company at this time. They wrote him back with, Dear Vince, we write in response to your letter of December 20th. We fully agree with your assessment that the company's management team is exceptional and are pleased to hear that Stephanie, Nick, Paul, and the rest of the management team have your full and unconditional support. We believe that our investors, employees, and fans agree. There is tremendous excitement at the company and among our fan base, and our stock price has grown more than 40% in just the last year. We did it without you. Oh, this freaking highlighted right here. Um, Go back to it. We fully agree that you think that the company's management has done an awesome job without you. And, look what we did. It was like it grew more than 40% without you here. Oh, shit. Okay, so let's continue. It, we remain optimistic about the continued success of this management team and the WWE franchise overall, and we believe your support is critical to this success. As you know, it is our as you know, it is our fiduciary obligation to continue to act in a way we believe is in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. We have always taken that responsibility very seriously, and all of our decisions are guided by this duty. With respect to your suggestion regarding the process to evaluate strategic alternatives and your role in that process, we are prepared to initiate such a process and are happy to work with you to ensure that it's the best process for the company and all of its shareholders. We already have planned to do it, but if you want to come along with us and let us, and guide us, you could do that. Yeah, it's fine. It's cool. It's all right. Indeed, we would welcome you and your advisors playing an important role in that process, including working together to identify the full range of potential alternatives and counterparties. To that end, we suggest that your bankers and lawyers meet with our bankers and lawyers in the first week of January to discuss how to best move forward together with this process. You call your lawyers, we'll call our lawyers, and we'll reconvene at this exact spot, and we'll talk it out basically. Although we welcome your participation in the launch of a strategic alternative review process, it is also our unanimous view that your return to the company at this time, while government investigations into your conduct by the U.S. Attorney's Office and SEC are still pending, would not be prudent from a shareholder value perspective. Um, Basically, thank you for thinking that you can come back, but you have all this shit on your head right now, and I was like, I don't think it's a good idea at this time when you have the feds are after you. Damn. All right, they continue. This determination is based on a variety of factors, including non public information the board has become aware of and the risks the company and shareholders are placing a greater spotlight on these issues. There's more shit, basically. um, the attached draft letter agreement provides that the board will not agree to the shareholder demand that the company file suit against you on the conditions you confirm your commitment to repay all of the investigation related expenses incurred by the company and that you agree not to serve as an officer, director, or employee of the company during the pendency of the government investigations. Oh, those conditions and all the draft letter agreement reflecting such conditions were unanimously approved by the board prior to receiving your letter of December 20th, and we are reaffirmed unanimously subsequent to that date. We are excited about the future of WWE and its continued success, and we look forward to working with you in the exploration of potential strategic alternatives as we continue to try to maximize shareholder value. Sincerely, the board of directors of WWE. So basically, that's a no from me, dog. um, we're glad you want to come back. We're thrilled, yes, but the investigation is still going on. You can't be within the vicinity of us, a worldwide company, a public company with shit that's been looming over you since July and all these past years. Plus, let's see, uh, we would welcome you, and there's still more stuff that is not publicly known, of course. And that right there is like, what else is there not known? Can we know? We can't. We don't know about yet. It's like there's more stuff that is hanging on them, on him, and they're like, no, you can't. Nah, here it goes. The determination is based on a variety of factors, including non-public information the board has become aware of, and the risk to the company and its shareholders of placing a greater spotlight on these issues. They have more shit on Vincent's head, and it hasn't become public yet. And if it did, it would just it was what the hell is going on, man? All right. The letters back and forth letter doesn't stop there. On December 31st, Vince wrote back to them. Uh, Dear Mr. Kent oh my god. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing Eminem. We're not doing Stan. But the fact that I'm gonna use the the background sound on this is just it just be as soon as I saw this, like, oh, dear Stan, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. Okay, so back to this. Dear Board of Directors, I appreciate your timely response to my December 20th letter. However, it is surprising that you did not address what I had sought to make clear in my letter, namely that we have a unique but narrow window of opportunity to maximize shareholder value by combining the upcoming media rights negotiations with a strategic review process. The board acknowledges that the right course of action for our shareholders, and that the only way to fully capture the opportunities by having me, the company's founder and controlling shareholder, return as executive chairman at this critical time, so that I can work alongside a management team to unify the decision making related to these two interconnected initiatives. Okay, you got to remember he's in the business. He's in the wrestling business. He wrote nearly 75% of promos. This is a promo. Like, he wrote them a promo. He did what Eminem did. He baited them. They took the bait, but they didn't respond back to what he wanted them to. So he said, you didn't answer my question. Here's what I wanted you to do. You went ahead and said all this other bunch of mumbo jumbo stuff about shit that I don't even care. I'm glad that Nick, Stephanie, and Triple H are doing, a great thing. But what about this thing right here is what I'm asking. Can I come? I need to come back to this thing right here to put into perspective. And they didn't answer that part. So he said, "It's like, all right, promo time, bitch." um, so it is. He continues. I would like to be clear that unless I have direct involvement and input as executive chairman from the outset, I will not be able to support or approve any media rights deals or strategic transaction, including any commitment made by or on behalf of the company regarding a potential transaction or process. This position is not driven by self-interest or a lack of confidence in the company's management team, but rather by my commitment to doing what is best for WWE and all its shareholders, and by my strong belief that maximizing the outcome of these processes will require close coordination and unified and efficient decision making. Okay, um, if he doesn't get his way, then doesn't. He's not gonna give you the. Okay, so if he doesn't get his way, he's not gonna approve or give you his blessing on who to sell it for. Like if USA's contract is coming right up, he wants to be involved in that and say like it's because of me you're still with USA Network. It's because of me that the network is still on Peacock. He knows how to talk to them. They trust him rather than these new people that they're gonna talk to later on that or they think that all this stuff. So if they don't talk to him, but they end up selling it to them, he's not gonna approve of it. He's not gonna support it. He's just gonna like do whatever you want, dude. I'm not, okay. Uh, and his commitment, it started with him. It should end with him. Like it should end with what he's trying to say. I didn't say this. It started with him, but what he thinks is that it's his baby. He should give his baby away. He should be the one to tell USA, yeah, you can have my baby. Um, or Spike TV, or is there still Spike TV? Is there still TNN? From back in the days. I'm thinking about this the wrong way. But um, what about streaming services? What about Netflix? All this other stuff. Like who wants my stuff? It should be me that is giving it to them, not these people. I don't trust these people. He's made that very clear in a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of other things. And so now, here we are. He continues, I sincerely hope we can work together to unlock this tremendous value potential. There is no rationale for your position that may return to the company would not be prudent from a shareholder value perspective. To the contrary, my return to the in the context of the media rights negotiations and the potential value maximizing strategy transaction is necessary precisely from a shareholder value perspective because it will allow WWE as well as any transaction counterparties to engage in these process knowing they have they will have the support of the controlling shareholder. See? Because if he's on the board, he has the most control over everybody. Like he has more shareholder shares than anybody in the freaking. He's like 55%. Everybody else is 45. So he has, even if he was 51%, but still. Further, the special committee of the board has concluded its investigation and presumably all of its material findings have been publicly disclosed by the company, and nothing has been communicated to me about any matters that would prevent me from returning to the board. So while I am pleased to see that we all agree as to the board's fiduciary obligations to act in the best interest of WWE and all its shareholders, it remains unclear to me how the board can discharge these obligations if it does not permit me to be actively involved in helping to lead these two interconnected inactivities from within the boardroom so that I can make a fully informed decision about whether any potential transaction creates the most value for all shareholders. I also feel that it is necessary to clearly state my position that in light of the fundamental nature of WWE's media rights to the core value proposition and purpose of WWE, it would be improper for the company or board to take material steps towards any media rights deal without WWE shareholder support, particularly considering that a very clear majority of the voting power explicitly opposes the company taking these steps without shareholder support. So they basically need him because he has shareholder He's the majority shareholder. Regarding the shareholder demand letter, I am glad to learn that following a review of the shareholder demand, the board has determined that the demand does not warrant any further legal action. However, it is unfortunate that the board would seek to use the conclusion to attempt to extract an agreement from me not to return to the company. Any construct along these lines is entirely unacceptable, especially in the light of the critical inflection points how facing the company. I would also like to clarify that my intention to avoid the creation of any conflict of interest related to the special committee investigation or related matters because of my return to the board. As executive chairman and consistent with my prior actions, I would not interfere with any government investigations or the special committees and independent directors process and cooperating with those or related investigations. It would fully support appropriate and tailored governance measures to insulate me from those matters, as well as any improvements to the company's internal controls determined to be appropriate by the independent directors. As I have previously conveyed, I also remain willing to continue working to finalize my reimbursement of the company for its reasonable expenses incurred related to investigation by and findings of the special committee to the extent not covered by insurance. Finally, I would like to reiterate my full support for WWE's management team and their leadership of the WWE franchise. It remains my sincere preference that we enable a cooperative path forward so that we can navigate these interconnected processes together for the benefit of our shareholders. I look forward to hearing back from you promptly and in any case by no later than January 5th, 2023. Sincerely, Vince.
I'm here to get drunk.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
right.
have about half a cup of vodka. Drink, drink, drink. Wait, are we live?
Hi, I'm Jessica.
One professional skill that I would really like to learn is stripping.
I'm Sonia.
Because, like, I'm okay with not being artistic. Like, I'm just like, that's cool.
And I'm Dawn Marie.
And we are opinionated lushes. I'll make a tomato vodka soup.
Ooh.
Also known as like a Caesar.
Once a week, we get together to drink and talk shit. We start our episodes off with a question and a drink word. We usually never stay on topic or wait for the drink word to start drinking.
You're already breaking the game.
There's a new episode of Opinionated Lushes every Friday on all streaming platforms.
Just testing mattresses. Why isn't that a job?
It probably is.
An unedited episode Saturday on YouTube.
You just want to tell people you love them?
Yeah, sometimes you need it.
It just sounds dangerous.
Have a cocktail suggestion?
A topic of interest. A good drinking word?
Feel free to DM us on Instagram or email us at opinionatedlushes@gmail.com.
If I don't know you, I will.
So go ahead, grab a drink, any kind of drink, and get ready to laugh with us and share our drunken opinions.
So, and then it was reported on January 5th by the Wall Street Journal that he was coming back to sell the company. Everyone pushed the panic button again. Lauren Thomas from the Wall Street Journal says Mr. McMahon, who has majority voting power through his ownership of WWE's Class B stock, has told the company that he is electing himself and two former co-presidents and directors, Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, to the board. The people said the move to reinstate Mr. McMahon, which the board previously rebuffed, and the others will require three current directors to vacate their positions. Mr. McMahon's new role will enable unified decisions making through the company's upcoming media rights negotiations and a parallel full review of the company's strategic alternatives, which Mr. McMahon believes is the right course of action and in the best interest of WWE and WWE shareholders amidst the current dynamics in the media and entertainment industry. As Mr. McMahon has communicated to the board, he believes there's a narrow window of opportunity to create significant value for all shareholders, and that to do so, the strategic alternatives review must occur in tandem with the media rights negotiations. He also expressed to the board that he believes two initiatives require Mr. McMahon's direct participation: leadership and support as controlling shareholder. So that happened Thursday, right? And I wake up Friday morning to a tweet on Twitter from Brandon Thurston, who's a wrestling business reporter. A new filing says effective immediately, Vince puts himself, Michelle Wilson, and George Barrios on the board and removes independent directors Alan Wexler, Joe Ellen Lyons Dillon, and Jeffrey Speed. He goes on, Mr. McMahon's new role will enable unified decision making through the company's upcoming media rights negotiations in parallel full review of the company's strategic alternatives, which Mr. McMahon believes is the right course of action and the best interest of WWE and WWE shareholders amid the current dynamics in the media and entertainment industry. As Mr. McMahon has communicated in the board, he believes there's a narrow window of opportunity to create significant value for all shareholders, and that to do so, the strategic and alternative reviews must occur in tandem with the media rights negotiations. He also expressed to the board that he believes these two initiatives require Mr. McMahon's direct participation. We know leadership and support as controlling shareholder. So after this, man, the IWC exploded and did something that hasn't been done before. They came together and agreed that this was bad for business. Wow. Yeah. uh, John Alba was interviewing Eric Bischoff on this whole information, and they did a timeline breakdown of the letters and what has transpired till now. I'll have the link to the YouTube episode on his 83 Weeks podcast in the show notes. But back on John Alba for a second here. He says that this feels like a TV show right now, and links it to like McMahon Helmsley era from '99 playing out in real time in the year 2023. That freaking time when they were all fighting each other, or when they were all being as a cohesive unit. But it's from 1999, man. It's when Helmsley married Stephanie, and then McMahon got in there. It it kind of feels like that. Uh, Corey Brennan from BodySlam.net. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, Mr. McMahon was looking to take over creative control of WWE a week ago, and he wanted to be involved in the day-to-day operations of running the company. For now, Vince McMahon does not have control over the creative process of WWE. However, all that can change in the coming weeks and could lead to a large-scale implications for the WWE television programming that is completely revamped by the regime that has been completely revamped by the regime under Triple H's management. Okay, so now, as far as to who would want to buy WWE, I said this as years ago as a joke, you know, and maybe it'll happen. I've said it before, and it's come up as an April Fool's joke from other people, and I've said like, dude, don't scare me like this, because this is what I said many years ago. I've been calling it. It's like Disney could buy WWE. Many of my friends know about this, but you know, I thought it was a joke back when they bought Marvel. It's like I wasn't the only one. Like we all thought it was a joke when Disney bought Marvel. But imagine what it would be like to have WWE SmackDown on Disney Plus as well, right next to Deadpool. If Deadpool ever gets put on there, if they do have SmackDown, there's no reason why they couldn't have Deadpool. I'm just saying. Another possibility is once again a joke, and I've said this on here as well. $7 Productions, Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia's company. As stated before, Nick Khan and Dwayne are very good friends. Imagine Nick going to The Rock and asking him to buy the company. Not only that, The Rock puts his ex-wife and business partner in charge as CEO. He already has her in charge of the XFL, which is set to debut soon. Why not? On the offside, you can do this also. Why not? All right. Next up, CNBC. They have a freaking list I'm telling you, they have a list. I'll have to put this in the show notes as well. CNBC has a list of possible potential buyers, and they are as follows. Comcast, of course, which owns NBC Universal, is a potential fit as a buyer for WWE. Obviously, this the most that people are asking for. It's already, you know, Peacock. It's already on Peacock. Why not just buy the whole thing? Do it. McMahon's company already has an exclusive streaming deal with Comcast, a streaming service, Peacock, and a cable TV deal with NBC Universal USA Network. Comcast has a market capitalization of more than 160 billion dollars and can easily afford a company, especially with a 9 billion dollars or more check. Coming soon as January 2024 from Disney for a 33% stake in Hulu. Comcast can lock up WWE perpetually without having to pay upcoming rights renewal increase and can use the company's IP for theme parks, movies, and other spin-off series. Still, Comcast CEO Brian Roberts said in October, the bar is the highest it's been in terms of M&A, and has repeatedly said the company isn't in a rush to pursue any acquisition. Another one is Fox. Fox seems less likely than Comcast to pull off a deal for WWE given its significantly smaller balance sheet and its 17 million I'm sorry, its 17 billion market valuation. Its ongoing dalliance with recombining with News Corp and its lack of presence in the global streaming wars. Still, Fox also has an existing linear TV deal with WWE for Friday Night SmackDown, and the company may feel the time is right to increase scale given its News Corp merger ambitions. Fox sold off most of its entertainment assets in its 71 billion sale to Disney in 2019, but WWE fits with the smaller company's sports and live events focus. So even if Fox were to buy freaking WWE, it's still owned by Disney. So basically, Disney owns Fox. Is where we're going with this. Which brings up to Disney, of course. Disney, returning CEO Bob Iger, may want to make a splashy acquisition as he retakes the throne at Disney. WWE fits Disney in the same way that it fits Comcast. It would bolster Disney's streaming ambitions, perhaps ESPN Plus. It would support the linear network business, and it would add some heft to merchandising and theme park businesses. Comcast didn't want Disney walking away with Fox in 2019 and drove up the price by tens of millions by topping Iger's initial bid. Could Iger see WWE as the next IP battle between Disney and his rival Comcast? And then we get a company I didn't think would. I don't even think it should be. Um, it should be right here either. But either way, Warner Brothers Discovery. Like DC, really? um, CEO David Zaslav has spent the beginning of his tenure over the merged Warner Media and Discovery, cutting costs to better position his company for the future. Spending billions on acquisition at this stage may run counter to his strategy, especially when it's unclear where live sports fit in the company's broader portfolio of assets. Still, Zaslav has said both publicly and privately that while he's not interested in renting sports rights, he would be interested in deals that give the company ownership over IP. WWE is one of only a small handful of assets that fit this premise. Rival Wrestling League AEW currently has a traditional carriage rights deal with Warner Brothers that expires this year. So imagine if AEW doesn't go back with Warner Brothers, doesn't resign with Warner Brothers, but WWE does. Like, could we be? No, I don't think so. But like, the fact that Raw and SmackDown on TNT, that's crazy. Uh, Next one is something I might agree with because you've seen other stuff on there already. The Challenge, Lucha Underground is the only one that I stream from actually, without having to like illegally stream movies. But you know, currently watching Kaleidoscope on there. So the next one is Netflix. Netflix has long shied away from sports and other live events, but has recently become open to the idea of owning a league outright or taking an ownership stake. Owning a sports league would give Netflix the ability to create video games and spin-off series without friction. Video games, you say? Huh. Netflix found success in its Formula One Drive to Survive documentary series, giving co-CEO Reed Hastings faith that certain sports properties will resonate with Netflix's huge global audience, but Netflix doesn't own Formula One, limiting its future options. Acquiring WWE or another sports league would be a path towards offering live entertainment without renting content, similar to Slav's thinking. We now see the profit path to renting big sports, said co-CEO Ted Sarandon last month at the UBS Global TMT conference. We're not anti-sports, we're just pro-profit. Um, Amazon is perennially around the hoop when it comes to acquiring sports content. From spending $1 billion per year on Thursday night football to streaming Major League Baseball games to exclusively broadcasting a bunch of Premier League soccer games, Amazon could bolster Prime Video with live matches and WWE's library content while easily boosting merchandising opportunities through its gigantic e-commerce business. Unlike Apple, which is also interested in sports rights but has almost no history of doing multi-billion acquisitions, Amazon spent 8.45 billion on MGM and 13.7 billion for Whole Foods. That suggests the company has the DNA to buy big. Endeavor Group Holdings, run by super agent Ari Emanuel, could add WWE to stable and assets after agreeing to buy 100% of UFC in 2021. Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel. Entourage? Huh. Oh, the guy that had the, you know, those Emanuels. Okay. Yeah, that Ari. Uh-huh. Emmanuel bought UFC to increase the scope of the talent agency's business to live events. WME IMG, now just a party of Endeavor, represents many UFC athletes as well as WWE superstars. The UFC deal has been a success for Endeavor, which paid about 7 times 2016's $600 million revenue in 2016. That's $600 million revenue in 2016. UFC generated more than $1 billion in revenue in 2022. Endeavor's enterprise value of just $11 billion makes WWE a huge swing for the company. The company's relatively small balance sheet would likely prevent Endeavor from winning a bidding war against media giants, but McMahon's outsized personality may fit with the brash Emmanuel and UFC president Dana White. Selling to a third party would also allow WWE to increase rights renewals every few years. That may or may not be a positive for the long-term future of the company as the media distribution ecosystem changes. Liberty Media. While Endeavor owns UFC, Liberty's Formula One group owns Formula One. John Malone, Liberty's controlling shareholder, and CEO Greg Maffei, along with Formula One CEO Stefano Domenicali, have figured out how to globally market the car racing league, including cracking American culture after decades of obscurity. Malone and Maffei have extensive track records at maximizing media valuations and acquiring media assets for less than $10 billion, including Formula One, SiriusXM, and Pandora. The global success of Formula One could provide a roadmap for a future WWE strategy. WWE could be sold to any of these companies within the next 3 to 6 months. So we're gonna keep an ear out. We're gonna keep an eye out on who is the top bidder and how much they buy it for, or how much it's sold, and we'll freaking announce it here too. Might as well. Yeah. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for joining me on this little mini episode that I decided to update you with. Thank you for listening to the show and supporting us. You can find us on all other sort of social platforms at our Linktree at linktree.com/, from under the apron. It has a link to our socials, the network, our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, plus our Fountain app. We're doing pretty good over there. Good Pods, we're doing pretty good as well over there. Spotify and iTunes accounts, where you can listen to us as well as leave us a comment or a 5-star review, which helps us be discovered by other fans of wrestling and podcasts. Check out the show notes for links to other podcast trailers that you heard on this episode. Click on the link to become a supporter of the show. Send us a message of your favorite wrestling stories, questions, comments, ratings, or requests by email. It is from undertheapron@gmail.com, and I will do my best to get to them and answer accordingly. Thank you for listening and being a huge part of our community. Join us next time for more stories, movies, and TV show reviews, as well as wrestling, when we come to you from Under the Apron. You know, what about Pluto TV? Like, I mean, they have El Rey, MTV, VH1, The Challenge, all this other stuff. Why not just make a channel where you just play non-stop wrestling? I mean, there's the network, but on Peacock. But what about Pluto TV? Instead of just like stopping or anything, just no, not a good idea. All right, well, I tried. Okay, I tried. See y'all later. Take care. Or just MTV. Why not put it on it? No, I mean no, not a good idea. They'll probably play ridiculousness over that. I mean, here was a channel that has like a countless library of challenge freaking MTV stuff, and all they want to do is play ridiculousness. So no MTV. Sorry I said that. Alright, nah, I'm really gone. Alright. Take care.